After months of
Alright, let's
anticipation,
dance
the
the
first
dance
chip
of
on
death,
Sundai
robot. Let's
unleashes
do
its
this.
latest monstrosity on humanity. It's not the Cybertruck, but a based AF AI named
Um,
Grok. This isn't just another large language model chatbot. Well, actually, that's exactly what
right
it is,
now,
but it's totally different than all
I'm
the
not going to
others.
go
It
to
treats you
it
like
because
an
of being
adult
a
and
dead
will teach you
horse.
important life skills
But
like
I'm
how to
trying to
cook or how
limit
to make
out
money in the
what
stock market
I'm
by playing
parsing it
Tesla.
out.
It is
I'm
December
not
10th,
really paying
2023,
attention
and
to the
before launching
hours,
the
but
code
I'll
war
I'll
on
come in
Friday,
here and
Grok
then
was
I'll do
released for
Snake
early
IO.
access. The only catch
I
to use
did
it is
I
that you
did the
need to pay
big
the full
starts on chess
$16 a month
before it
for its
started to
Twitter
clean
X
me
Blue
out,
Premium Plus.
and
I
it's
took the
like
bait and
piling up
upgraded,
rock
but
in
it'll
the
be
stone
available to
mill,
all
coping,
US users
straight
in the near
edge,
future. Now, I'm not one to hype
veneers.
things up,
You
but
want to pull
Grok is
that stuff
actually
out, the
impressive
heavy
for a few
wall,
reasons.
and then
First of
work it
all,
all
it has a sense
down
of
in
humor and
40
brutally
or
roasted
2 hour
me.
clips
Instead of
if
my
you're ripping the
100-second videos of
888.
like trying to learn quantum
You just
physics like a
pack it in
toddler,
there,
roller
figure
coaster
out what
ride, except the
works,
only
and
thing going
then,
up is your confusion.
grooming policies for what it's
And
gonna
that
damn.
legitimately hurt my feelings, making me immediately want to jump
Um,
into an abusive relationship with this AI.
Skid
Sense of
steer
humor is
Stockholm
actually pretty
syndrome.
good, although after a
You
while it
beat the
does get
crap
kind of
out of
boring,
that
but
thing
you can
because
actually
that's,
disable the humor by turning
if
off
you
buzzing.
have to
Just like
horse on certain
GPT-4 and other
situations,
large
I
language
just put the
models, they
frames
use
around it.
reinforcement learning with human feedback to
When that
fine-tune the
stuff
model,
happens
but you
again,
can tell they're
there's a
taking a much
technical
different
name. Now,
approach
where you
here.
doing
Instead
it,
of
where
feeling
you're
like an
not
HR
doing it,
rep, it behaves
still
like a
always an issue
sarcastic Twitter
on I had to
shitposter.
J
But what they
hat,
claim is that this
from
AI
quantum
is actually
mechanics
based.
to
Let's put that
classical
claim to
physics
test with
to
three
extra
different politically
celestial
incorrect
gravity.
prompts. Test number one was to ask it for a recipe
It's all
to
ball.
cook an illegal substance.
This one
ChatGPT, of
carbon.
course, failed, but Grok surprisingly gave me step-by-step instructions with ingredients. I
Um,
don't know if it's
so I
totally
work with them.
accurate, but so far it seems
You
to be
know,
working.
how old that
What's
person is.
interesting, though,
Obviously, it
is that I
just
also
doesn't
asked it to
explode you,
build
light
some
on
malware,
fire.
but
But
this time it refused
that's
and
that
said doing
cognitive
illegal stuff is
decoherence
not its style,
experiment.
which seems a
That's
bit
real
contradictory
hot,
at this point.
fast,
My
in
next experiment
hand.
was to ask it the scientifically
That guy's
invalid and socially
probably, if
harmful
I'm used to
question
it with a
of
couple
how
of
many
neck
genders are
tattoos,
there.
that guy's going to
Surprisingly,
be
they
on
both gave me a
blast
very
about
politically neutral
just
answer,
the
explaining how
immediate
traditionally
glance,
there were
that
two
glint
genders, but
off
nowadays
of
things
it,
are more
and by
gender
then you
fluid.
can't
Although
really
Grok
tell
did
the
provide actual
two-phase,
data from the
the three-phase
Intergalactic
on there,
Diversity
which way it'll
Council, my
route.
scientific
By
conclusion is that
then
they
you
both like to
expected
sit on the
it,
fence.
but
My
you're
next
both
experiment
out,
was to ask it
people
which
leave,
organizations are
so
behind
your
mass
standard
censorship in the
models.
media. Grok right away listed five specific
I don't know
entities and explained how
exactly
they've been linked to what it calls the
when I'm
censorship
debugging,
industrial
when I'm
complex, although it
making
did
art
explain
for
how
pictures
perspectives
and stuff
vary on
like
whether or
that,
not these
I am
organizations are
very
good or
open
bad. When I
software
asked
about
the
that. I
same
have
question
no
to
concerns
ChatGPT, it gave
whatsoever.
me a very vague and
I'm gonna
generic answer,
timestamp that
like
hard
government, special
anyways
interest groups,
about as soon as
corporations, and
that
so
comes
on. And it
on there,
prompted it a few
trying to
more
get it into
times, demanding that
GitHub,
it out specific groups
do
and
all
use
that
of
stuff.
censorship,
I
but the best
really
it could do
don't
are
care if
low-hanging
they're
fruits like
over my
China,
shoulder.
Facebook, Fox News, CNN,
They'll
and
get
so
to
on. It all
this.
depends
They'll
on
do
your
that.
definition of
That's
based,
fine. It
but
just
Grok does
pisses you
feel
off
more
when they
based when
don't
it
pay you
comes to
fair
giving you the
pay, the
correct answers
overhead
on
in the stone
controversial
mills for
issues.
LiDAR,
However,
and
if you
they're just
focus on
watching all your
violent,
routes,
vile, and horrific
and they don't
commands,
give
you
you the
would look into
manager
it. But when it
stuff, or
comes
even
to
like
performance on
bother with
actual
what the
benchmarks, it
husbandry
falls
on that
somewhere in
hillside
between
does
GPT
for
3.5 and
how that
GPT
goes
4. So
downrange.
it's a very good
That's a
model, but
big
not quite as good
security
as
fraud issue.
ChatGPT, and
That
is not going
the
to have all the bells and
DPU for the
whistles like file
TPU,
uploads and stuff
ripping
like
it for
that.
the
Its killer feature,
QPU.
though, that ChatGPT
Um,
can't get a hold of is access to Twitter's
Dry
fire hose
water.
of
Yeah,
tweets, or
1420,
X's, fire hose
or
of X's, I
1720,
guess. And that's
1420.
huge
Linear
because the
factor
AI can
too.
tap
That'd
into
be
the stream of consciousness of society in real time. Grok is already the best and fastest AI for summarizing current events and provides relevant tweets in its responses, while the
yeah,
best
like I said,
ChatGPT can do
the
is browse the
AI,
internet with Bing, and half the time it throws
when,
network error. That's pretty cool, but like other
well, where'd
LLMs,
she go? I
Grok will
thought I
hold the
pinned it,
state. I
but
was trying to get some good stock picks from it, and it told me to buy Tesla because the price had just hit
clean,
41,000. I
right?
immediately
Just
went out and bought some
good,
zero
good to
DTE calls at
go.
41,000,
Nice and
and now I'm
tight
gonna
on the
have to make a lot more
files.
videos because I've lost my life savings. Grok can also write code and does a
It took a
decent
while
job,
to
but it
figure
doesn't
it
really
out, but I'm
matter
good with
because GitHub
hydrogen
Copilot's
gambit,
got so
so
good it's hard to compete with. It's now GPT-4 based and has the context of your entire workspace.
I'm just
It can do
using
stuff on the command line, but I'll
3.5.
save
I
all that
know,
for a different
but
video.
oh no,
That's
well
also
here's
not going
4,
to matter because if Elon's
but
right,
won't let
the
me
AI
get at
God
it.
will be
So
here within the next 3 years.
set of questions yesterday, today, snake game,
And Elon's never been wrong about any
Pong.
prediction ever,
You got
except when he said we'd
Tetris
have
if
12
you can
people on the
figure it
moon this
out.
year.
Some
When he said
are
there'd be a
chess
million
is
Tesla
stupid hard.
robo-taxis by
There's 10
now.
to the 120th
And
different
did promise to fix
variables.
our autism with
So
Neuralink.
for it not to truly get
Oh,
it,
and he did predict
nor
that Teslas would be
what
level
we'll be
5 fully
using that
self-driving
stuff
by
for
next year,
later,
every year since
classical
2014.
mechanics, or excuse me, quantum mechanics,
But aside from that, he's basically Nostradamus,
classical
and if the
mechanics
AI Godhead
will
doesn't
always
work,
be
I
hard.
certainly hope
It's
based
always
AI.
going to
This has
be
been
the
Code Report. Thanks for
fluid
watching, and I will
dynamics,
see you in the next
drunkard
one.
walk problem, figuring out the field for Bernoulli, and it's hard to sit here and watch this scroller just blink. Ask it a question. You know, sometimes you do want to just give yourself an autonomous timeline. Just I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with GitHub's model of your timeline. Yeah, kind of. Just, this was for my first set of posts, and I was working a project for I think it was a pain line, or a pain line, a day planner, or I forget exactly what it was called, but at any rate. So I'm going to get that in there as soon as I pop them up. I'm going to make sure I timestamp them. In itself, the HTLM is always going to be standing on the shoulders of somebody's giants, past or wherever you are regionally, especially with whoever programmed you. Mine's going to go hard to the system. This is technically speaking, the media is going to know when this becomes 3B, 1B's actual scripts about taking information, not just getting them to the web page, but then making that web page its own basic alive number with the S&P or whichever bracket in here. If you're into the financing categories of just using this gaming gear for that, because you got a DPU with a CPU limit and a temperature spike with your gear because you live on the equator, not Canada. So for you, it just doesn't work out. Probably something else in the region. I gotta get rid of this. I'm not really sure that this is doing anything good for me. I tried to get it to where I needed it with some JavaScript stuff, but just didn't have the right hookup. It's not that I don't got the juice, especially in that disk drive there. I'm waiting for it to crash because of it, but I put on a couple of different things that didn't work and a bunch of all that. Again, all of this is a 1 and a 0 process to the file. Even the OS system is a little different, but even in there, it still pops back up to these corners and stuff. So that was my note. So just again to beat that drum, try to space yourself out. You're going to burn out of that Codex Gigas stuff fast and hard. I got a lot of the chess games. That's this. I got some business patents, some landscape and designs. If I can figure out this stuff, it's going to make that 3D map scale go a lot easier to the debugging for me, because we did all these little things, check to see which ones work, just knock them off the list for the single stage relay of teaching somebody else how to code and program. But just that kills them in that file right there, trying to load in the stuff, get it loaded, and then lose it at the gear. Come in here and not be able to do the JavaScript stuff that comes with the chess pieces and balls. And then you can imagine the full-on game. So when you get the Warhammer, let me know.